as Africans, we always have this mindset that house chores has to be done by the woman. Men feel like, as the provider, or most men feel like, as the provider, it's the woman that should cook, clean, take care of the kids, take away the trash and all of those house chores, do laundry, iron, and all of, just take care of everything while he goes out to provide for the family. I would say that in the previous generations, it was like that because the man always, the men always were the ones who went out to get the bacon, while the women stayed at home to take care of the kids and also, of course, take care of things. But then things have changed in our generation. This generation, the women work, the men work. Or the women do business, the men also do business, or the men work. So in this generation, or in our generation, you have men and women working. And because you have men and women working, the dynamics for taking care of house chores, somehow has changed. Even though the woman has been nurtured to be that person who is a nurturer, who will take care of the household, or who will take care of the home and take care of a lot of things in the house. Of course, she's the house manager. But then it's important to be able to become that type of man who would also take responsibility for house chores. Let me give you an instance. In my house, we don't have who does what as far as house chores are concerned. We don't have that rule that it's just my wife who takes care of everything in the house while I sit down or while I make provisions for the family. My wife works, I work. And because we both work, it's important that we take care of the house chores, especially during the early years of our marriage when we didn't have house helps, we didn't have, all of the domestic help that could help around with several things in the house. My wife and I decided that we were going to not place house chores because of gender or on gender, but we're going to place house chores based on availability and based on capacity. House chores were designated based on availability and capacity and not based on gender. So let me, explain what I mean by that. Based on availability. Now I go to work, my wife goes to work. So if I happen to be the one who comes back early, at home, say I come back by 4 p.m., I'm not going to sit down and wait for my wife to come back by 7 p.m. and start cooking food for the both of us or for the family. I am going to go into the kitchen and cook food for us to eat because the two of us are one. If we have a child or we have kids, those kids belong to the both of us. So I wouldn't want to sit down and wait for her after a long day at work, coming back by 7 p.m. to start preparing food for us. So this is what I mean by availability. Availability in the sense that I am the one at that point in time or at that day who is available. And so I make provisions for food. Now, you can actually decide that, okay, I don't want to cook. I can get, I can order for food or something. But then the point is, because you are the one who is available at that time to be able to make provisions for that food or take care of that house chore at that time, you don't sit down and wait for the other person who is not available to come and do that. The second thing is capacity. There are food that I can cook very well. It's nice, it's so sweet, and I do it better than my wife. There's nothing wrong in going into the kitchen to prepare those food, especially when I can do it better than her. My wife has, of course, greater capacity to cook, so it's easier for her to also cook when she needs to cook. Capacity also could be putting on the gen. As a man, a lot of times we have greater capacity to put on the gen, we have greater capacity to, change the bulb, We have greater capacity to do, carry or lift heavier things. So you wouldn't say, okay, because it has to be a gender thing. It's not about gender, it's about capacity at this point. Yeah, men have the tendency to be able to do those heavier, stronger, harder things. But the point is, because I have the capacity to be able to do it, then I take my time to do it on behalf of the both of us. But then it's not a gender thing. But you should also understand something. For the things that you have capacity to do, you may find yourself, or you will find yourself doing more of those things. For instance, a woman has a higher capacity to cook, a woman has a higher capacity to take care of the children, a woman has a higher capacity to manage the household as compared to a man. A man may not even know where a couple of things are in the house, but a woman has the capacity to know where everything is at home. So in that area where she has higher capacity, there is that tendency that she would be the one who would always be taking care of that area, because that's an area of strength for her. In the same way, for a man, you would find out that your area of capacity is also your area of strength. So what do? Instead of allowing the person who has a weakness in an area to be doing something, you can complement each other by working on both your strength, or using your capacities, or using your area of strength to be able to take care of house chores. What that means is that if I bring my capacity to the table, you bring your capacity to the table when it comes to taking care of house chores, or when it comes to taking care of certain responsibilities at home. What that does is that your weaknesses disappear. Your weaknesses disappear because I'm bringing my strength to the table. You're bringing your strength to the table. We are both complementing or covering up for our areas of weaknesses. What that means is that at home, we will end up having areas of strength that are being expressed, and our areas of weaknesses would disappear naturally. So, in taking care of house chores as Africans, or as even anyone, culture, yes, may say that house chores should be placed on gender, but I'm saying that house chores can be based on availability and on capacity. And if it's based on availability and capacity, you would play more to your areas of strength, and your weaknesses would disappear. So think about it. There's nothing wrong in a man changing a child's diaper. The diaper or the child is yours. The child is yours, the child is hers. You both give birth to that child, so you have equal responsibility to take care of your child. No one or nothing says that as a man you can't bathe your kids. So in fact, some of these things help to build a stronger bond between your children and yourself, and even your wife. And studies have shown that children who live in houses where house chores are not assigned based on gender, they grow to be able to respect the other gender. So if you raise boys who can do everything at home, who don't see that their sisters are the ones who would always do stuff, they will grow up to respect the other gender. They will grow up to respect women. The same way for girls. When you raise girls to understand that everyone can do the same chores, they will grow up to have higher self-esteem. They will grow up to respect the men that come into their lives. So I hope that this helps. And take care of yourselves, guys, and receive sense.